when the offseason started, there was some question marks for the Las Vegas Raiders. There's no question for that. I really don't think there was a question at all because, I mean, defensive line, offensive line, wide receiver number 2. Like, don't get me wrong. I love a guy like Bryan Edwards. I think there's still something you can get out of him, but the Raiders needed something. They needed the last piece. And I do think it's important to mention here, I think they needed, to be honest with you, 2 last pieces. They needed an edge rusher that opposite of Max Crosby. I love Unique Ngakwe, but I just Chandler Jones, he is an upgrade, and he is going to be a stud on that outside for the Raiders. But they needed something else. Like, they really needed a player that was going to demand a lot of targets, or a player that could demand a lot of attention on the offensive side of the football at the wide receiver position. So what did they do? They go out and trade a first and a second away for Davante Adams, and I think it's safe to say that he was the missing piece for the Raiders. When you think about the fact that, like, this offensive line, it's not great, it's not beautiful, but I will say, as a Vikings fan and as an NFL fan, I have seen so many worse offensive lines. There have been some really bad ones out there. There really has. And I do think at the end of the day, when you think about, you have Davante Adams and Hunter Renfrow, 2 of the best route runners in the entire NFL, and potentially one of the best 1-2 combinations in the league. I think they can pick up the slack for that offensive line. I really think, like, it doesn't need to be an all-pro offensive line to be able to give him 2 seconds, Derek Carr 2 seconds to be able to find either Davante Adams or Hunter Renfrow or Darren Waller or Josh Jacobs or Bryan Edwards. It doesn't matter, because Davante Adams, to me, was the missing piece. He was that last little bit of shot in the arm that the Raiders offense needed. And I think moving forward, the Raiders are in a position now where, if they didn't trade for a guy like Davante Adams, I think they would need to have that perfect offensive line for Derek Carr. They would need to have upgraded both guard positions. They would have need to probably make sure that defense is perfect. But none of that is the case. Like, their defense, I mean, I know who did they get back? Hankins or whatever it was to play defensive tackle, but I don't think it matters. I think the Raiders, especially with the addition of a guy like Davante Adams, he is a guy that I think he makes them, like, he finally puts them over the top. Like, that, just that one addition of a superstar wide receiver, and all of a sudden it's scary. You talk about this offense, like I said, they got Jonathan Hankins back, and they got Bilal Nichols as well. So they've got a good 1-2 punch in the middle there. But, like, with how good Davante Adams is, like, think of it this way. If you grade the Raiders, if you put them out on a paper and you see all these different position groups, like quarterback, I think, is an A, wide receivers, clearly an A, O-line, C, maybe C+, maybe it's not a D, it's a C+. It's good enough to get you by. Running backs, B+, easily. Josh Jacobs is a stud, and also everyone else behind him is good as well. Amir Abdullah and all of them. So there is a lot of good things going on with that position group. But if you look at the defensive line, it's, I think it's a B. Just because of the interior. Now, if we're just talking about edge, is clearly an A, because you've got Max Crosby, and I'm sorry, I couldn't think today. And you also got Chandler Jones, Malcolm Kuntz, Kyler Fackrell. Like, edge is nice. Edge is real nice. But if you look at the grades, if you look at what they have in the interior, with Bilal Nichols and also a guy like Jonathan Hankins, like, I would really like to see a little bit of an upgrade to Hankins. Like, it wasn't a great year for him last year, but it was respectable. Like, if they added a Noah Ellis, if they added a Jordan Davis in the draft, I mean, man, that would be scary. That would be scary for the Raiders. And I think because of how high of a player that Davante Adams is, and him and Hunter Renfrow at an A, that immediately elevates every other position group. That it doesn't matter. That C+ offensive line becomes a B, because you don't have to give him 5 seconds to throw the football. Either Davante Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller. Somebody's going to get open, because not all, like, NFL defensives, that's the biggest thing is, there's a superstar wide receiver that can just break open a game, and it really is Davante Adams. I think he does elevate the rest of the team, and I think he elevates, certainly the Raiders to a position where they found their missing piece, and I think they're ready to finally make a big leap here. And again, the harsh reality of the NFL is it's a stop the passer, get the passer, and have a passer league. You obviously stop the passer. You've got defensive line, you got corners, and you have to have a good quarterback that can sling it around, and Derek Carr's that guy. So I think the Raiders finally found their missing piece in a guy like Davante Adams. I think based on how good he is and how he will elevate this offense, yeah, I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a really good thing for the Raiders moving forward. Well, let us know what you guys think. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Leave a like and a comment. It helps people find the show. We greatly appreciate all the support that we've gotten and continue to get. You guys are all truthfully awesome. We love every single one of you. In the description down below, we've got all of our social media platforms. Give us a like and a follow there. And also remember to give us a listen and sub on iTunes. And finally, if you have anything else you'd like us to cover, send us an email at thesportsbp@yahoo.com or put in the comment section down below, and we would love to cover it. But let us know what you guys think about Davante Adams being the missing piece for the Las Vegas Raiders.